In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get your clients to feeling pretty fatigued, lethargic, lacking energy, to feeling completely thriving and optimized and full of energy. My name is Louisa Nicola. I'm a neurophysiologist and I'm a human performance coach. I have been working with some of the best athletes in the world, optimizing their human potential, optimizing their physiological state, optimizing their brain for performance. I work with a lot of non-athletes as well at Neuroathletics. If you haven't checked out our Instagram, our social media pages, if you haven't checked out my social media page, go through and do so. I'll link it below. So in around 2019, we opened up a coaching certificate where we actually teach practitioners and coaches our exact 8-system blueprint that we do with all of our clients. Now, one thing that comes up particularly with everybody when they come to Neuroathletics is they inquire because they just don't have any energy, which is absolutely ludicrous to me because energy is like everything in life. Energy, if you really understand what energy is, and whether we're talking from ATP production or just feeling alive, energy enables us to do everything from think, act, perform, work out, work, make money, communicate effectively. When people just don't have 100% energy, everything goes downhill. They become moody, they're fatigued, they can't go to the gym, and it becomes this spiral, right? They don't have too much energy, so they don't go to the gym. They don't go to the gym, so they become a bit moody because they didn't go to the gym. They eat a bit more during the day to compensate for that energy. They have 6-7 coffees or even 3 to 4 coffees to give them more energy, which is basically fake energy. So people are just doing everything, everything they can to get that energy because they don't know why they're deprived or depleted in energy. And oftentimes they look to doctors, okay? They look to their practitioner, whether that is a health coach, whether that's a personal trainer, their strength coach, whatever that is. And so many of these people don't have the answer. I know this because I've been in both fields. I currently am in both fields, and I know what happens on the back end. Take, for example, if you go and do blood work from your regular physician, you'll say to your doctor, I'm lethargic, maybe I'm low in iron. You just give them a bit of your, you give them a few of your symptoms, and they will order an analysis, a blood work analysis for you. They'll go do your bloods and they will just say to you, yep, you're fine, you're free to go, because they'll see your blood work and they'll see that there is nothing of concern. In other words, you are not dying and you don't have a disease, so you're free to go. They don't actually get to the root cause of your energy problems. And then if you go to a practitioner or a coach, they actually have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm going to give you a case study of one of my recent clients. And I actually want to start by getting you to answer this question. How many people wish they had more energy? It's almost every person in the world, right? So my client, 38-year-old man, consistently feels drained and exhausted. He sleeps, no joke, he's like sleeping around 7 to 9 hours a night, and he still feels as if he hasn't slept at all. Day-to-day tasks that once seemed trivial now seem extremely challenging. He struggles to stay focused, alert. He's finding himself drifting off during meetings or even while watching TV, so completely fatigued. These are his symptoms: persistent fatigue. So wakes up after a full night and he feels tired and worn out. I know this because at Neuroathletics, we do an extremely thorough intake form. So when you come on board, we are getting you to answer like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions because we get to know every single part of you. Second symptom, decreased concentration. So he finds it hard to focus on tasks. He often forgets things and starts losing his train of thought. Thirdly, lack of motivation. People think like motivation comes from we hear about motivation from a dopamine perspective, or we hear about motivation like, I just have to maybe listen to a Tony Robbins clip, or I have to do this, I have to do that. Motivation comes from energy. If you are not motivated every morning, that is a symptom, that is a cry for help. We need to know that. Okay, we should be motivated every day. So he had lack of motivations. Activities that he once enjoyed now feel like chores. He's got muscle weakness. So training is now harder than ever because he constantly feels worn out. So when he's going to the gym and when he's doing his workouts, he can't work out to his maximum because he just feels lethargic and worn out. Mood fluctuations. So he feels more irritable and moody than usual. Last but not least, difficulty waking up. So despite setting multiple alarms, he finds it challenging to get out of bed. So what did he do? He did the standard thing. He went to the doctor and he asked the doctor to order him some blood work. He said, "Can I just check my bloods? Maybe I'm low in iron." And the doctor said, "Sure." Gets the results back and the doctor cleared him and said, "There's nothing here. Maybe you just need to go home and sleep a bit more and stress a little less." That's not giving the patient too much to go from. So the patient's just there feeling stranded. And what's happening? He went home, started drinking more coffee just to feel more energized. And he finally reached his endpoint, and that's when he came to neuroathletics. So what did we do to assess his energy and to figure out the problem? So the first thing we did was we got a complete blood work analysis done, and we go pretty deep on our blood work. It's not just a cookie cutter model, and we order a lot of biomarkers. So when we did that, we got the results back and it showed that he had low vitamin D and high cortisol. By the way, it showed many other things as well. He had low testosterone. His testosterone was, I think it was around 350, 370, which is, quite very, significantly low for a man of his age. Interestingly, vitamin D and testosterone is related. You need vitamin D along with many other things to make testosterone. So he also had high cortisol. And, for many reasons he had high cortisol, but one of them is most likely from the fact that he had low energy. So he was constantly drinking coffee. He was telling me that one day he reached around 7 cups of coffee. That's insane, especially if he was buying them here in New York City. But look, nonetheless, he was having too much coffee, low vitamin D, and I wanted to do more research because what usually happens is a practitioner would see low vitamin D and advise you to take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D per day, which is absolutely ludicrous because you have to understand that every biomarker has a metabolic pathway. Every single biomarker. So just because you get a low biomarker, whether it's, it could be high homocysteine, low vitamin D, high cortisol, low cortisol, there's a reason for everything. So you have to find out what the metabolic pathway of that is rather than just supplementing with it because that's just stupid, really. You're never going to get to the root cause of the problem. So these were 2 great studies that I've come across in my time. So this one here, this study looked at 174 adults and they presented with fatigue. And of these participants, 77% were found to have low levels of vitamin D, which is 30 nanograms per milliliter, which is insane because we want our vitamin D up around 50. So we know that the correlations of vitamin D and fatigue exist. This is another study. This included 120 otherwise healthy individuals with vitamin D deficiency under 20. They reported symptoms of fatigue. They were divided into 2 groups. One group received a single oral dose of 100,000 units of vitamin D, unbelievable, while the other group received a placebo. Those who treated with vitamin D experienced a significant improvement in their fatigue symptoms. So we know already there is a correlation between vitamin D and fatigue. That still doesn't get me to the root cause of the problem. So I went further into his analysis and into understanding the pathways in the body. So you have to think, well, what lowers vitamin D? Even if you're out in the sun, right? What lowers vitamin D? These three things. Air pollutants can lower vitamin D. Heavy metals alter vitamin D status significantly. And vitamin D plays a role in heavy metal uptake and in the presence of lead. So if you have lead in your blood, which many people do, in the presence of lead, your body, as a protective mechanism, will lower vitamin D so it doesn't uptake and absorb more lead, because there is a correlation between there's an absorption correlation between vitamin D and lead. So if it senses that there is lead in the system, it lowers the vitamin D status because vitamin D uptakes more lead. So the body's very smart. It's a very intelligent system. It says, I don't want more lead in the system, so I'm going to lower vitamin D so we don't reuptake even more lead. And guess what? People aren't getting to the root cause of these issues. They're not finding that they've got lead in their system. What they're doing is, let's just say that this same person had lead in his system, which he did, and then he goes and supplements with 5,000 IUs or even 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. He's now putting more vitamin D in his system to uptake more lead. So the question then changes to, do you have low vitamin D or do you have lead in your system? Like, wild, right? So what did we do then? Well, we then ordered hair, urine, and stool analysis. We also did gut microbiome. Obviously, it showed lead in his system. That's how we found lead in his system. We did the hair analysis to find that out. We did urine, stool, and gut just to clear out any forms of infections, any viruses, and we found so many different things. So once we corrected for that, we then put him on a lead protocol, which I'm not going to go into in this episode, but we went through that. He cleared his system and his vitamin D levels actually naturally corrected. And then because of that, everything else starts to correct itself. And by the way, within 2 weeks, we decreased his caffeine intake by 75%. Decreased it, and guess what? His energy levels, he reported energy levels. When he came to see us, it was like a 4 out of 10. And after the 2-week protocol of eliminating the lead and not supplementing with vitamin D, he was sitting at around 8.5 out of 10 for his energy levels. So I hope this short clip just gives you an insight into the fact that symptoms, first and foremost, are a cry for help. Every single biomarker has a metabolic pathway, and we need to investigate it rather than just putting crap into our system that doesn't work or eventuate in anything. It probably just adds to the severity of the symptoms. And see, if you are a practitioner and you want to understand more about this, which I do believe that every single practitioner out there who is working with anybody should do, if you want to understand the 8-step system that we teach coaches through our neuroathletics coaching certificate, then sign up below, or even go through and book a call with me if you want personal coaching, or if you want to join if you're a practitioner that wants to join the course, go through, click the link, schedule a call with me, and we'll get you in. Have a good day.